We're here in the Economic War Room, and I'm with my good friend, Rod Martin. I mean, this guy is an amazing guy. He's a kid from Arkansas. He's active in the Baptist Church. He has a law degree. He worked for Mike Huckabee. He worked for Peter Thiel. He's a great friend. He was a part of the PayPal founding team, and we've been together recently at the Digital Texan Summit. It's one of the first summits we have at Liberty Hawk Ranch. He was, in fact, our keynote speaker and our thought leader. And the summit, we think of it as a solutions tank. It's not a think tank. It's not a do tank. It is a craft solutions and then go implement them tank. So, Rod Martin, welcome back to the Economic War Room.
Very good to be here.
Hey, so we were talking about the Digital Texan. What's the idea behind that?
Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution allows states to coin money. Now, that seems crazy today, but that was perfectly common all through the 18th and 19th centuries, that states or state-delegated, state-chartered banks could issue banknotes, but only...
Doesn't it say they can't coin money?
But they can if it is gold or silver. It has to be what we used to all know the term specie. It has to actually be 100% gold or silver, or notes that are gold or silver backed.
What do you mean? Now, when you say coin money, I think of this. This is a state of Texas. It's a commemorative coin, but it's a coin. So you're saying the state could produce ounces of gold, ounces of silver, mint them in a coin, and make that available?
Well, it could, but it could also do something even cooler, which is give you what is in effect a receipt for the gold that's on deposit in the already existing Texas Bullion depository. It could do that. And oh wait, even cooler today, because that receipt in 1880 would have been basically like a dollar bill. It's a banknote. It is a note, which is to say a debt instrument. You hand this to the government of the United States at the time. Can't do this anymore, thank you, Richard Nixon, but once upon a time, you could hand your dollar bill to the United States Treasury. They would give you back $1 worth of gold. States are also permitted to do that under Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution. But today, you don't have to do it that way. You could do it electronically in a form that looks a lot like Bitcoin.
So it would be a digital version. Does it have to be Bitcoin? Does it have to be on the blockchain and all of the things that cryptocurrency that make people's heads swim?
No, it absolutely doesn't. It could be done in a way that is exactly the same as the way people use bank accounts or PayPal accounts now. You have digital dollars right now. They aren't technically the digital dollar in the way that Biden's executive order is speaking of. But they're functionally digital. Most of the money that you have is not in the form of dollar bills. It is mostly ledger entries in a bank account or, used on a credit card or something of the sort. And a digital gold or silver-backed coin that is issued constitutionally protected, issued by a state, could do the exact same thing.
So there is a term, I'll pull out $1 and I look at it and it says, this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. What does that mean?
That means that while you don't personally have to use dollars if you don't want to, you could keep your money in, yen or euros or whatever. If you're a vendor, you have to accept dollars if you work in the United States. If I have a 7-Eleven in Texas, I have to take dollars. I have to receive those. If I have a mortgage in the United States, the mortgage company has to take my mortgage payment in dollars. And Article 1, Section 10 says that states may issue legal tender currencies that must be accepted by vendors in their states if they are 100% gold or silver.
Okay, so everyone's used to dollars. And we use dollars in our checking account, we use dollars with our MasterCard, we use dollars because it's ultimately paid in dollars. Yeah. Those are kind of receipts for that. But the state thing Has that ever been tried where a state has created tender of that nature, gold and silver tender?
That was actually the norm in most of the United States for most of U.S. history. That effectively ended with the creation of the Federal Reserve System in 1913. But prior to that, it was perfectly normal for states to charter state banks that could issue currency, banknotes, backed by gold and silver. Now, that's in many ways not an ideal system, primarily because they didn't have the kind of electronic financial infrastructure that we have today. And a state bank is certainly not as solid as the state itself. So in some cases, you would have banks fail and people would lose their money. That's not really necessary now because the state of Texas isn't going to fail. The state of Texas has this really cool thing that they invented just not that long ago called the Texas Bullion Depository.
That was 2014.
You could deposit gold in the Texas Bullion Depository, and if Texas were to choose to do this, they'd have to pass legislation to enable this, but they could issue something we're calling the digital Texan. And the Texan would not be keyed to dollars, it would be keyed to a certain quantity of gold. So call it a gram of gold or half a gram of gold. It doesn't really matter. Whatever it is, a certain number of Texans would be worth the equivalent amount of physical gold, and it would be tradable like a currency. Now, the coolest thing about this, the reason it's really neat, is that lots of people right now are investing in cryptocurrencies. They see the utility in that. What they don't get from that is the true function of a currency because the United States government treats that as an investable asset and you pay capital gains tax on every individual transaction. If you pay for a stick of gum with Bitcoin, you have a capital gains tax issue with the IRS. A legal tender currency issued by a state is not subject to capital gains tax. It functions just like the dollar. And that would be an extraordinarily attractive thing for many, many people who have discovered already the benefits of crypto.